Hello students, today we will continue with digestion and absorption. In our last lecture, we have covered some part of the alimentary tract in which we have covered mouth, oral cavity, pharynx and esophagus. And we have ended our last lecture over the point that esophagus enters into the stomach. Now we will continue with stomach. In stomach, esophagus leads to a J-shaped bag-like structure called the stomach. This is esophagus. This is J-shaped. The stomach is J-shaped, and the esophagus enters into the stomach at the point where there is a sphincter, and this sphincter, which is marked by the black line, this is called gastroesophageal sphincter. Gastro for stomach, esophageal is for esophagus, so gastroesophageal sphincter. So a muscular sphincter, gastroesophageal sphincter, regulates the opening of the esophagus into the stomach. So this sphincter regulates the opening of esophagus into the stomach. What does it mean? It means this sphincter allows the passage of food from esophagus to stomach, but prevents the backward passage of food from stomach to esophagus. So this regulates this opening. Now the third point is, stomach is located in the upper left portion of the abdominal cavity. If you will see at your abdomen, you will find the location of stomach is in the upper part of the abdominal cavity, and secondly, it is left to the midline of the body. So stomach is located in upper left portion of the abdominal cavity. This is the location of the stomach in our body. Now the fourth point is, the stomach has four major parts. First one is cardiac portion. This cardiac portion I have demarcated with red color, into which the esophagus opens, and in this portion esophagus opens. So the portion of the stomach where esophagus opens is called cardia portion. The second portion is fundic portion, is the upper curved part. This upper curved part is the fundus. Third is body, is the main central part. This main central part is body of the stomach. And fourth is pyloric portion, which opens into the first part of the small intestine. This green color part is pylorus. This opens into the first part of the small intestine, which is called duodenum. The first part of the small intestine is called duodenum, and pylorus opens into the duodenum. And the next is opening of stomach into the duodenum is guarded by pyloric sphincter. This opening of pylorus is guarded by pyloric sphincter. Again, the sphincter, what does the sphincter do? Sphincter will allow the passage of food from the stomach to the intestine, but will prevent the backward passage of food from intestine to the stomach. So the pyloric sphincter will regulate the passage of food from stomach to intestine. Now, as we have studied, stomach opens into the small intestine. Now we will take next portion, small intestine. Small intestine is distinguishable into three regions. First is C-shaped duodenum. This yellow portion, this is C-shaped, so this is called duodenum. This C-shaped portion of yellow color is duodenum. A long coiled middle portion jejunum, blue color part which is coiled is called jejunum, and this third part which is in purple color, this is highly coiled. This is more coiled than jejunum. This is highly coiled portion which is in purple color is the third part of the small intestine, ileum. Now, ileum opens into the large intestine. This ileum will open into the large intestine. And where will it open? It will open at this cecum portion of large intestine. So ileum will open at cecum in the large intestine. Now we will study large intestine. Large intestine consists of cecum, colon and rectum. This first portion is cecum. This ascending colon, transverse colon, descending colon and the sigmoid colon. This entire portion is called colon, and the last portion is rectum. Now, cecum is a small blind sac. Cecum is a small blind sac. Why it is blind? Because it is closed on one side, so it is called blind. And sac, because it is a pouch-like structure, so it is called sac. So cecum is a blind sac which hosts some symbiotic microorganisms. In this cecum, there are a lot of symbiotic microorganisms. You know what is symbiotic? Symbiotic is helping each other. There are microorganisms in this cecum which help human beings in the digestion of fiber part of the food, and on the other hand, human body provides them habitat and food. So this is a symbiotic relationship between bacteria and human beings. So there are symbiotic microorganisms, and where they does live? They live in cecum of the large intestine. A narrow finger-like tubular projection, the vermiform appendix. This is a narrow finger-like projection, and this is called appendix, and the full name is vermiform appendix, which is a vestigial organ, arises from the cecum. This appendix arises from the cecum, and this is vestigial organ. Why this is vestigial? Because in earlier times, this vestigial organ, this appendix, was used to digest the cellulose part. But as now human beings have stopped taking the cellulose part, now this is of no use in human body. So this has gone wasted, and this is now the vestigial part. So this is disintegrating day by day. Now, the colon is divided into three parts: an ascending, a transverse and descending part. This colon is divided into three parts: ascending colon, transverse colon, descending colon. Now, in your book, there are only three parts of the colon. As you will go in higher classes, you will study one more part of the colon. That would be sigmoid colon. This curved part of the large intestine is called sigmoid colon. The descending part opens into the rectum. This descending part through the sigmoid colon opens into the rectum, and the rectum stores feces before their release. And the rectum is a pouch-like structure which stores feces, stools, or you may say waste product before their release, and we release this waste product through the anus. Now we will take microanatomy of the alimentary tract. We have studied parts of the alimentary tract, and now if we will study the microanatomy, means histological part, or you may say cellular part of the alimentary tract, then for to study that, you have to take a transverse section through the alimentary tract. There you will see the wall of the alimentary canal from esophagus to rectum possesses four layers, namely serosa, muscularis, submucosa and mucosa. There are four layers in the wall of the alimentary tract. First one is serosa. This skin color part is serosa. This is the outermost layer, and these two layers are muscular in nature. So this is muscularis layer. It has further two parts. I will let you know just now. And the third layer is submucosa, and the innermost layer is mucosa. If from inner side to outward you will see, mucosa is the innermost layer. Underneath the mucosa there is submucosa, and over the submucosa there is muscular layer, and the outer layer is serosa, because that is serous in nature, that is membrane like. So that is called serous layer or serosa. Serosa is the outermost layer and is made up of thin mesothelium. I have told you serosa is the outermost layer. It is made up of mesothelium tissue. Now at the cellular level, if you will see, there are mesothelial cells in this serosa layer. So this is made up of mesothelium tissue. Muscularis is formed of smooth muscles. As the name suggests, muscularis, there is muscular tissue and there are smooth muscles which are usually arranged in inner circular layer and an outer longitudinal layer. If you will see this diagram, you will see in the inner layer there are circular projections. These are the muscle fibers are arranged in circular pattern. So this is circular portion, and in this outer part of the muscular layer, the fibers are arranged in longitudinal way, in longitudinal direction. So this is longitudinal layer. So we can say muscular layer has two parts. One is longitudinal layer and second is circular layer. Now next is submucosal layer, that is underneath the mucosa, is formed of loose connective tissue containing nerves, blood and lymph vessels. This yellow is nerve, this red color is artery, and this blue color is vein. These nerve and blood vessels, these are entering here, but these are located in this submucosal layer. These are located in submucosal layer. Here I have written in duodenum, glands are also present in submucosa. Here I am going to the last line of this lecture. All the four layers show modifications in different parts of the alimentary tract. As I have told you, there are four layers and these are not similar in different parts of the gut. There are some changes, and one change here is that in the duodenum, in submucosa, there are certain glands, and glands are for secretion of the mucus and digestive enzymes. And in duodenum portion, in addition to the nerves, blood vessels and lymph vessels, the glands are also present in the submucosal layer in duodenum. This is one exception, you have to learn it. The innermost layer lining the lumen of the alimentary tract. अगर आप सबसे अंदर की लेयर को देखोगे alimentary tract की, that layer is called mucosa. And why is that called mucosa? Because that secretes mucus. So this is mucosal lining. Now, if you will see in the stomach, if you cut the stomach and you see the inner layer, the mucosa layer of the stomach, you will find that there mucosa is arranged in irregular folds. So mucosal folds, irregular folds in the stomach, they have been specified a specific term called rugae. So what are rugae? Rugae are the irregular mucosal folds present in the stomach. Now, similar to the stomach, in intestine, mucosa is arranged in finger-like projections. There, mucosa show finger-like projections, and these finger-like projections have been named villi. So villi, what are villi? Villi are the mucosal finger-like projections present in the small intestine. The cells lining the villi produce numerous microscopic projections called microvilli. And if you will see the structure of the villi, these are the cells of the villi, and at their outer border they have numerous small projections, and these projections are called microvilli. And what does these microvilli do? These first give brush-like appearance to the small intestine, as they are giving brush-like appearance, and secondly, they are increasing the surface area of the intestine. So giving a brush border appearance, and these modifications increase the surface area enormously. So what is the role of microvilli? They increase the surface area of the intestine. And why this surface area is required? This is required for absorption of the food. Now, if you see inside the villi, as we have studied, these are the finger-like projections in the small intestine. There we see a network of capillaries and a large lymph vessel called lacteal. In the villi, there are these capillaries. This red and blue portion is showing the capillaries, and this yellow colored portion is the lymphatic vessel, and this lymphatic vessel is called lacteal. So what is lacteal? Lacteal is the lymphatic vessel present in the villi of the small intestine. And next point is, mucosa forms crypts in between the bases of the villi called crypts of Lieberkühn. First, I will tell you what is crypt. Crypt is a vault in a building. मीन्स तहखाना, जैसे किसी बिल्डिंग के अंदर तहखाना होता है, ऐसे ही इसलिए इनको नाम दिया गया है क्योंकि ये विलाई के बीच में, विलाई के जो बेस होते हैं उनके बीच में फोल्ड्स के अंदर ये छुपे हुए होते हैं, तो इसलिए इनको क्रिप्ट्स बोला जाता है. एंड सो दीज आर कॉल्ड क्रिप्ट्स ऑफ लीबरकून. दीज क्रिप्ट्स have stem cells in them, and they keep on forming the enterocytes. So these enterocytes have a lifespan of 72 hours. These keeps on shedding in 72 hours. New cells keeps on forming in these crypts, and they keeps on transferring to the upper part of the villi to take place of the shedded cells. Next point is, intestinal mucosa epithelium has goblet cells which secrete mucus that helps in lubrication. In these cells of villi, there are also goblet cells. Why they are called goblet cells? Because they are mug-like. They are mug-like cells. Their shape is mug-like. So goblet means mug shape. So they are called goblet cells. And what is their role? They secrete the mucus in the intestine. So mucus secreting goblet cells are present in the small intestine. Mucosa also forms glands in the stomach. As I earlier told you, in the stomach also mucosa forms the glands. These are called gastric glands. Here were intestinal glands which were present in the intestine. Here are gastric glands which are present in the stomach. So mucosa forms in the glands in the stomach, so which are called gastric glands. Their role is also the same. They also secrete the mucus, and mucus is used for lubrication. And as I have told you, there are differences in the 4 layers of the gut. In gastric region there are some differences, in intestinal region there are some differences. So we can say that all the 4 layers show modifications in different parts of the alimentary canal. So this was the structure of the alimentary canal. So students, I am finishing here. In next class, we will cover rest of the part of the chapter digestion and absorption. Thank you.